Thank you. Congratulations, Clara. We will next introduce the valedictorian for the class of 2019. It seems only fitting to end with the valedictorian, as the Latin translation literally means farewell given. For the class of 2019, earning a weighted GPA of 4.469, scoring a nearly perfect score of 1560 on the SAT, please welcome to the stage this year's valedictorian, Mr. Kinnamon.
I would like to begin by welcoming you all and thanking everyone in attendance tonight. I quote, "What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. I wrote some notes at the beginning of a song someone will sing for me. America, you great unfinished symphony, you sent for me." Some of you may recognize these lines from the near ending of the Broadway musical, Hamilton, as the American founding father, Alexander Hamilton, stares down his political opponent, Aaron Burr, and contemplates the summation of his life in a duel, the duel that ultimately ends Hamilton's life. And while I could speak on this history all day, perhaps many of you would appreciate it if I spoke on a much shorter topic. Let me stop and ask, as Hamilton does, what is a legacy? As I personally reflect on the meaning of this word, I see a resounding truth in what Hamilton says. A legacy is an investment in the future. It's an impact that continues to ripple through the world long after that first seed gets planted. Hamilton himself may have died when he took that bullet, but clearly his legacy lives on, as I not only pay homage to him now, but as this moment actually represents a piece of that American symphony that he started so long ago. So this is my first realization. Legacies are indefinite. To be scientific, which may signal many of you to stop listening if you haven't already. The very cosmic creation that each of us is has a lasting impact on a quantum physical scale, an impact on the fate of the rest of the universe for the rest of all time. No pressure, right? But there's a personal meaning in this as well. We can all recall names and faces of those who encouraged, supported, motivated us to reach this point. Those who did the same for our parents, our grandparents, their parents, forefathers long before our memories. But all these have passed away before being able to see us here tonight. We are their legacies. I think of Adam Kahn, perhaps one of the brightest lights I've ever known. I remember every time I saw him, every life he touched was left in light, including mine, to Chris, to Terry and Rachel. We are his legacy, just as we are the legacy of all those who survived. A fitting Native American proverb reads, "When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life in a manner so that when you die, the world cries, and you rejoice." For Adam, for all the names and faces we can remember, this is the truth of their legacy. But I also identify another truth in this prophecy. It tells us to live our lives in a manner, but that manner is left vague and ambiguous. Yet it clearly implies that we must make it a habit to strive towards that undefined life with purpose. So legacies must be intentional. Based solely on that indefinite quality I spoke of, you could boil everything I said down to mean, no matter what you do, you will leave a legacy. But I realize that this message is anterior to my understanding of legacies. See, we can rifle through the most famous legacies out there, from Hamilton, Washington, Jefferson, those eternal American names, to Michael Jordan, and here forgive me, that's the only sports name I could think of. and to others, King, Gandhi, countless others. But there's an equally long list of infamous legacies, topped with Hitler, Stalin, events like Hiroshima, Nanking, the Holocaust, the Armenian genocide, my land. The point is, if we leave it at no matter what you do, we find ourselves opening the door to unintentional and intentional evil. It's a sort of Pandora's box. So in the sense that I mean it, a legacy can only be positive. We have no exact word for what that leaves, but perhaps notoriety, being famous or well-known for some bad quality or deed, gets us close enough. If a legacy must then be intentionally positive, that raises a very large problem. As I mentioned before, the proverb does not explain what that life looks like. The hard fact is, since a legacy is something you never get to see, there's no pit stops, no checkups, and no supervision. You either succeed or you don't. And sometimes it isn't so obvious which way your actions will be understood for generations. American policymakers believed the Vietnam War would mean something to the American people, a glorious mission to stop the Asian domino effect and save the world from communism. Instead, what they found was increasing hostility to a foreign conflict that only seemed to cost lives. They found notoriety. And we can't say exactly for sure what caused this. I mean, we can tout facts and events and raise Cain about public rationale, the psychology that led to that. But it's all still guesswork. Just as we are stuck with that question today, every day, we must struggle with the vague idea of what we must strive for, with no way to know whether what we're doing gets us any closer to that goal. It's a guess and check with no check, or, as many of you may be familiar with, doing a math test in pen. If by now I have thoroughly convinced you that life is too hard and you could never leave a positive legacy, take heart. For many of you, at least you can still enjoy some college parties. In all honesty though, the intentional part of the legacy is simple. I quote Colossians 3:12 through 15 from the Bible. Put on then, as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing with one another, and, if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other. As the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you are called in one body, and be thankful. To leave a legacy, we must simply pursue these things. As much as we often turn to those famous examples to gain a better idea of what a legacy is, and here I'd like to point the finger at myself for doing this earlier, I believe this habit teaches us a misconception. Because a legacy does not have to be fame. It does not always have to be revolutionary, world-changing. It does not always look like a name in a history book or in a hall of fame, or enshrined on a bust or a statue. Yes, these are often tied to legacies, but not the most important legacies. The most important legacy is the one we leave every day. It's the simple act of living out those positive actions. My family moved to Holly just a short 5 years ago. In the summer before our 8th grade year, I entered Holly Middle School, shy, quiet, deathly afraid of everything that was different. The kindest people to me then are my greatest friends now. Madeline Chipley, Devin Green, Emily Sanders, the first person to call me a friend, a memory she does not remember, but that I will never forget. Similar legacies are all around us, from Mr. Alexander, 50 bucks is 50 bucks, man, to Mr. Lombard, carrying all his stuff upstairs to the library for only me. Thank you, Mr. Lombard, and thank you, Mr. Alexander. A legacy is Mrs. Hollopeter noticing something's not right. and making sure I'm okay on October 12th, 2015. Thank you, Mrs. Holliday. We all have these experiences, these moments when we felt our lives being touched by somebody in a way that will always stick with us. I look to the faces off to my left in the band, out in the crowd. I see so many people that have left their legacies on me, so many daily interactions that have touched me. None of them did it to earn anything. They were simply being intentionally positive, and they had intentionally resounding effects. We too have a legacy. Today, Holly High School's class of 2019 joins the ranks of those before us. I am sure in the past weeks, many teachers and parents have reflected on our daily interactions with them and find they will miss us. I am equally sure that those same teachers and parents will not miss us one bit. But the most important fact of a legacy is not actually the when or the how, it's the why. Legacies are about the future. They are, as I said, an investment, like the educations we have received and are celebrating today, and the educations we will receive. Like the encouragement from our parents and mentors to reach this point. To me, living should never be about the here and now. It should be about the legacy, the future. We enjoy the moment, yes. The moment should be enjoyed. But it's with the goal of leaving the world a better place afterwards. My AP psychology textbook this year paraphrased Carl Jung to have said, "We reach backward into our parents and forward into our children, and through their children into a future we will never see, but about which we must therefore care." We are at once the children and the parents. Every father is a son, every mother just a daughter. Every moment is a chance to make the next one brighter, and every life is an opportunity to bless the next generation. The class of 2019 stands here today, well, sits here today, grateful of every past generation that counts us a piece of their legacy. The mentors, the teachers, the coaches, parents, parents of parents, guardians, siblings, friends, community, and anyone who has or who will contribute their legacy to our lives. I thank my mom and my dad for every blessing they've given me. The blessing of two models of the kind of people to be. Hardworking, invested in others, in the community, in the youth, dedicated to helping others, to teaching others, especially those most in need, and aware that the greatest reward in all this is the deed itself. You have a grateful son. I thank my older siblings for teaching me, for caring me, and for loving me. Well, sometimes. I thank my younger sister for being a light in my life. I hope and pray that my legacy is as much in hers. Finally, I thank my God for all these and everything else He has given me, undeserving, especially the sacrifice of a Savior. He has a loyal servant. Every student here thanks the world for this opportunity, the opportunity to plant their legacy in that world. And if I know anything about my peers, it is that there will be some of the most beautiful legacies planted by these here tonight. Here we are, confined to the past, the present, but very much active in the future. It is our time to roam the planet, our time to rise to the occasions, our time to dream, believe, and achieve. We will go forth with the legacies of the past into the world to make the future a place where our children and our grandchildren and their children will remember all these legacies. This is our shot. This is our legacy. Thank you, and go Broncos.